And viewers, as Israel and Iran are locked in a fierce battle, it seems that the opposition in India has already picked sides. Congress MP Priyanka Gandhi Vadra termed Indian government's decision to abstain from voting on UN resolution on Gaza ceasefire as shameful and disappointing. She went on to say that India is not only standing silent as Netanyahu annihilates an entire nation, but is also cheering on as Israel attacks Iran and assassinates its leadership in flagrant violation of its sovereignty. Now remember, a UNG resolution seeking immediate, unconditional and lasting ceasefire in Gaza was adopted with overwhelming support, with 149 countries voting in favor. India was among the 19 countries that abstained. Others in the I.N.D.I.A bloc have echoed Congress's message. But first up, let's listen in to what Priyanka Gandhi Vadra had to say on Gaza.
I have said what I think many times about Gaza. I believe that what is happening there is very wrong on a humanitarian level, on every level. And I have said it again and again.
And it wasn't just Priyanka Gandhi Vadra who condemned Israel's actions. Other prominent leaders of the I.N.D.I.A bloc have weighed in too, with Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin calling Israel strikes reckless act of aggression that risk igniting a wider war. Citing continued bombardment of Gaza, Stalin asserted that this violent path must be condemned. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, on the other hand, branded Israel as the global thug that doesn't follow the normal course of decency. Vijayan added that Israel arrogantly believes that it can do anything with US backing.
Israel പണ്ടേ ലോകത്തെമ്മാടിയായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു രാഷ്ട്രമാണ്. ലോകത്ത് സാധാരണഗതിയിലുള്ള ഒരു മര്യാദയും പാലിക്കേണ്ടതില്ല എന്ന നിലപാട് അംഗീകരിച്ചു പോകുന്ന ഒരു രാഷ്ട്രമാണ്. എന്തുമാകാം, അമേരിക്കയുടെ പിന്തുണയുണ്ട് എന്ന ധിക്കാരപരമായ സമീപനമാണ് എല്ലാ കാലത്തും ഇസ്രയേൽ സ്വീകരിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇപ്പോൾ അത്യന്തം സ്ഫോടനാത്മകമായ വിവരങ്ങളാണ് ഇന്ന് കാലത്ത് വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ളത്. അതാണ് ഇറാന് നേരെ നടത്തിയ ആക്രമണം. അത്തരമൊരു ആക്രമണത്തെ ഒരു തരത്തിലും ന്യായീകരിക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നില്ല. അത് നമ്മുടെ ലോകസമാധാനത്തിന് അങ്ങേയറ്റം ഭീഷണമായ അന്തരീക്ഷമാണ് ഉണ്ടാക്കുക.
BJP, meanwhile, responded to opposition's attacks, particularly in relation to what Priyanka Gandhi Vadra had to say about India abstaining from vote on UN resolution on Gaza ceasefire. BJP spokesperson Pradeep Bhandari accused Congress of spreading half-truths and emphasized upon India's official explanation of vote at the United Nations on June 12th. Let's listen in to what India's permanent representative to the UN, P. Harish, said, explaining India's stance.
India is deeply concerned at this deepening humanitarian crisis, and we condemn the loss of civilian lives. I would like to stress that India has always been on the side of peace and humanity. We have repeatedly called for protection of civilians and upholding of humanitarian obligations. India had earlier abstained in the vote on resolutions A/RES/77/247 and A/RES/79/232. Our vote today is in continuation of this, in the belief that there is no other way to resolve conflicts but through dialogue and diplomacy.
And joining us on this debate is Tushar Gupta, political analyst. We also have with us Ashwini Kumar Mishra, leader of the Congress party. Good evening once again to both of you. Ashwini Kumar Mishra, you heard what India's permanent representative to the United Nations had to say. India's vote was in line with abstention earlier on two other resolutions. And explaining India's vote, he made it absolutely clear that India is deeply concerned at the deepening humanitarian crisis and condemned the loss of civilian lives. Then what do we make of the kind of statements that have come from, the likes of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, Jairam Ramesh, who say that it is shameful and disappointing that our government has chosen to abstain on the UN motion for protection of civilians and upholding legal and humanitarian obligations in Gaza?
Hina ji, India's philosophy always has been Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya. We have always been against any sort of genocides. We have always been against any sort of killing of any human life. We are against terrorism, and we are fighting our neighborhood country. We are fighting terrorism with Pakistan, and probably everyone has a right to fight terrorism. But in the name of terrorism, you cannot create a war-like situation. You cannot get into the edge of a third world war. That is what Israel is pushing towards too. And India, where other US allies are actually voted for the ceasefire, India is abstaining from it is a clear, I see it as probably a diplomatic, not failure, but diplomatic abstaining from that boat. I don't know how to put that up, but I think that's a very big mistake India is doing right now, and missing from its core principle, which is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. So I think we as a country should always work towards the peace of any nation. Wherever there's a conflict, we should work towards a peace. We, as per media and per Bharatiya Janata Party, we tried that doing with Ukraine, Russia as well. We tried with other countries' disputes as well. But I don't know why we are not doing and taking the same steps in case of Israel's conflict.
But Tushar, we haven't really changed our position as far as India-Israel conflict is concerned, or what's happening between India and Iran. Earlier, there was a statement by External Affairs Minister as well.
Look, Hina, there are two perspectives to it. First, we sitting in India cannot decide what defines humanitarian in the Israel-Gaza war. We have to be very clear that Israel was not the aggressor here. What happened on October 7th, 2023 must not be forgotten. The problem here is that today in India, almost all the opposition leaders and even the Kerala Chief Minister and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister have just tweeted. They all are somehow whitewashing the crimes of October 7, 2023. Now, you tell me, given Israel's history, given Israel's geography, doesn't it have a right to defend itself? It absolutely does. Now, if the aggressors want to nudge towards a war that spreads into a greater war in the entire region, that's something that the world will have to think about. It's not something for Indian diplomats to think about. Mishra ji needs to understand that the aggressor here is not Israel. If you are going to say that Israel is pushing the world towards a third world war, then you will also say that Operation Sindoor was Prime Minister Modi's campaign towards a third world war. The aggressor, like Pakistan was in the case of Operation Sindoor, it was Hamas in the case of Israel. And since we talk about Iran, and Hina, yes, India's stance has been very, very clear. Both countries are strategic partners to India, and India has maintained a status quo that we want them to sort of figure it out themselves. They have to do what they have to do, but it has to be something between both the countries. India is not siding with anyone. But again, Jews, Israel are basing their war against Iran on their existence, on the issue of existence, because once Iran gets a nuclear arsenal up and running, Israel sees it as an existential threat. That also needs to be acknowledged. Now, these are dynamics with a lot of layers in the Middle East. Now, why India abstained? India also voted in favor of a ceasefire in December 23 and 24 in Gaza. By the way, the Congress should note that. It voted in favor of a ceasefire. Now it has abstained for it. But then you cannot just simply say that, oh, I want to appease a certain vote bank in India, so I should be seen speaking about Gaza, but I'll be absolutely stunningly quiet about what happened on October 7, 2023. Because, Hina, and it's important you tell, your viewers get this. Today, if we whitewash the crimes of October 7, 2023, tomorrow, someone will whitewash the crimes of Mumbai 26/11 and Pahalgam April 2025. That's what we don't want.
Ashwini Kumar Mishra, India has always maintained a balanced diplomatic approach when it comes to Israel and Palestine. And like I said earlier, and also if you look at the history here, India had voted in favor of 54 resolutions, abstained on 8 resolutions over the last 5 years on resolutions related to Israel-Palestine issue in UNGA. And that included 13 resolutions concerning Palestine that were brought in UNGA since the beginning of Israel-Hamas conflict, out of which India voted in favor of 10 resolutions and abstained on 3 resolutions. So where is this, issue coming out from that has been raised by the Congress party, wherein Mr. Jairam Ramesh has also said that it seems to suggest that Israel can attack Iran, but Iran should exercise restraint and not climb the escalatory ladder? Have we been reduced to being an abject apologist for Israel? Where is this really coming from? Because India's stated position has remained this only for quite some time now, and how India has always maintained that this is not an era of war in the case of Russia and Ukraine, something, as a foreign policy that was appreciated by Dr. Tharoor himself.
Hina-ji, I think Tushar himself said that in 2024 we voted for the ceasefire and now we are abstaining from it. So what changed between that 1 year when we voted for ceasefire and now we are abstaining from it? So there must be some diplomatic change must have happened. And moreover, what we are telling is that aggression of Israel in the name of terrorism, which happened in 2023, they are attacking and doing the genocide, is justified. And when Pahalgam happened for us and we do a ceasefire, that's also justified. So isn't that two contradicting statements? And when we supposed to retaliate and save our nation and we do the ceasefire, that's good for the nation. When someone is actually going and doing the genocide and we are not voting for the ceasefire, it's again justified. I don't understand this duplicity of Tushar Gupta or our foreign policy.
Okay, Tushar wants to respond. Tushar wants to respond. Yes.
I'll explain it to Mishra ji in as clear language as I can. Please understand, Israel is a very important diplomatic partner for India, more important than Congress's or any party's vote bank. Please get this straight. There is no intellectualization to this point. Israel is a very important partner to India, and the diplomacy at the United Nations will evolve. Now, you are saying that India agreed to a ceasefire with Pakistan after Pahalgam. No, sir, you're incorrect. We hit their 9 terror strikes. We hit their 15 military targets, which the Congress doesn't like to talk about, by the way. It was after the 9 terror targets were hit and 15 military camps across the length of Pakistan, from Skardu to Karachi, were hit, that we agreed to a ceasefire. And we agreed to a ceasefire after the Pakistanis came begging for it. Did the Hamas came begging for a ceasefire before Israel? No, did not. Did Iranians come begging for a ceasefire before Israel? No, did not. And again, Israel, what is doing in national security, its own national security interests. What India will also do is in national security interests. Again, a larger point is, tomorrow, if India wants to take out the entire terror infrastructure in Pakistan, rest assured it would be a disproportionate response. And then again, the same Congress leaders would say that, oh, you are going for a genocide in the name of eradicating terrorism. No, this is not genocide. Israel has the complete right to serve its national security interests, just as any other country has. Do you tell America that why did it invade half of Middle East in the last 20 years? Do you tell America why did it invade Vietnam? Do you ask these questions to other countries? No, you don't. You ask this question to Israel, specifically to Israel, because it helps to cater to your domestic vote bank. Please don't think people don't see through this charade, sir. People see through this charade.
Is appeasement the compulsion here, Mr. Ashwini Kumar Mishra? Because I'm looking at Priyanka Gandhi Vadra's statement, who's speaking about how it is shameful and disappointing that India has chosen to abstain on the UN motion for protection of civilians and upholding legal and humanitarian obligations in Gaza. But, I'm again coming back to the point that was reiterated by India, explaining India's stance as far as this voting situation is concerned. India made it absolutely clear that India is deeply concerned at the deepening humanitarian crisis and condemned the loss of civilian lives. India also reiterated its position that it has always been on the side of peace and humanity and backed sustained and timely humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Then where is this coming from? Where is this criticism really emanating from? Is this the compulsion? Is it appeasement that's behind this kind of, a statement that we've got? The charge that has also been made by Tushar Gupta? Ashwini Kumar Mishra.
Hina ji, we as a Congress party always believe in the core value of our country, which is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. I started with that, and moreover, we are a secular country. We are not specific to let's not divide this whole nation into Hindu, Muslim, and appeasement politics. We have never believed in appeasement. We always believe in secularism and social justice. Coming back to your point, I think action speaks louder than the word. When you go and vote for it, that is when you show the action rather than showing just an empathy. It is more important to vote for the peace, for the word, rather than just quoting about it and giving an humanitarian aids.
All right, I'll have to leave it there, but thank you very much, both of you gentlemen, for joining us. We'll, of course, be tracking this story ahead as well. For now, thank you very much to Tushar Gupta as well as Ashwini Kumar Mishra for joining us here on this debate. Bye.